There are about 10 settings in the back end of your Thinkific site that you must get right and set up properly the first time. Otherwise, you'll be back in the site in a month trying to troubleshoot and figure out how. Your privacy policy, your terms of use, your domain, the currency, your tax codes. This is stuff that no one makes videos about because it's boring and not fun. So if you've just signed up for Thinkific and you have no idea where to start with the backend settings, this video is for you. And if you're already using Thinkific, I would watch this video through as well to make sure that you've actually set it up properly. If we haven't met yet, my name is Kim, better known as Brainy Girl, and I have been one of Thinkific's top experts since 2015. I have literally built hundreds of Thinkific sites. This is episode 2 of my 13-part series where we actually go through the entire process of setting up your entire Thinkific site from start to finish with all the details that those other Thinkific tutorials leave out. Episode 1 took you on a tour through your entire back end of your Thinkific site. If you haven't watched that yet, time to go watch it now. This episode is the foundation for everything else that you are going to build out for your site. We are going to get this right the first time. Now we're using my sandbox site for this, basically my test Thinkific site. So yours might look slightly different depending on if you've had features roll out lately or if Thinkific has changed the interface since this was filmed, but everything should be pretty close to what it is now. So once you've logged into your Thinkific site, you're going to come down here to settings and click on that. As you can see, there's multiple tabs across the top. We're going to be going through each of them and talking about what each one is, what do you want to do with it. So we're going to start here on the Site tab. And what we're looking for first is our site details. So this is the name of your school, your online platform, your online learning center, your online academy, whatever that is called, that is what's going to go here. Because this is going to be shown in different spots throughout your Thinkific site, including on receipts that will be sent to your customers. So this is not about one course that you have. This is about your entire learning center. And when you do this, thinking about I might add to this over time, then you're not going to base the name on the course, maybe your flagship course. We don't want to do that. So we want to call this something like the Dog Training Institute. Okay, once you've got that there, we're going to click on Save. Now we're going to go down to our site emails. So we need a reply to email and a support email. So reply to emails are for if you're sending out emails through Thinkific and someone replies to them, or you're sending out receipts and someone replies to them. The support email is actually linked within your Learner Hub or your student dashboard so that students can get support if they need to. Now, what you don't want to do here is use Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, anything like that. Ideally, you are using your own domain name. So it could be talk at, info at, Kim at, whatever your emails are that you want for reply and support, this is where you're going to add them here. So I'm just going to add that one and click on Save. All right, let's scroll down to site URL. So Thinkific will give you a URL when you first create your Thinkific site. It's usually quite ugly. It's an ugly URL. So even if you're not going to use a custom domain, at the very least, you want to make this a branded URL. So instead of, kimschool-48642.thinkific.com, you at least want to change that to some kind of branding within that URL, whether you're adding a custom domain or not. Caveat here. If you already have a live site and you have live students within your site, it is highly unlikely that you are going to want to change this because you will have broken links throughout. If you have any links to your site from social or emails or anything like that, and you go and change that URL, it is going to break your site. Okay, so we don't want to do that. So you would only change your Thinkific URL if this is a brand new site and you don't have live students in it. And it's really easy to do. You simply click here, edit the URL, put in whatever you want before thinkific.com and click on Save. Now, in my case, I'm not changing it because this is my sandbox site, but now you know how to change yours. As far as a custom URL goes, this could be something, so I'm just going to use my own site, which is brainygirlu.com. So this could be courses.brainygirlu.com, learningcenter.brainygirlu.com, onlineacademy.brainygirlu.com. So it's some kind of, it's called a CNAME. You might think of it as a subdomain. It could be www. What it can't be is just brainygirlu.com. So you would have to go into your domain, and I'm not going to show you this part. Well, maybe I will show you this part. I'll show you this part on my specific domain host, which is SiteGround. Now, if you use Bluehost or GoDaddy or one of those other ones, it's going to look slightly different. But I'll show you it on SiteGround so you can get an idea of how to do this. Okay, for this, you're going to be looking for something called your DNS zone editor or DNS manager DNS, something like that is what you're going to do. And so what we need to create for your Thinkific site is called a CNAME. So we want to create a new record. Now make sure that you already don't have that record set up. So for instance, if you're using www for your primary website, you are not going to use www for this website. This is going to be a brand new subdomain, a brand new URL that you're going to use. Now you have to own the domain. So I own brainygirlu.com. So in this case, I'm going to click on CNAME and I'm going to set up something like, let's do test.brainygirlu.com. But again, this could be courses, learning, online learning, academy, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And then resolves to, yours might says point to, something like that, is going to be my Thinkific URL. So this one here. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to go back here and put this in and click create. All right, the CNAME is created. Now it can take 24 to 48 hours to propagate, which means you could potentially not have access to use that for 24 to 48 hours. Here's what I would do. I would take that test.brainygirlu.com. So that's the URL I just created, the CNAME. I'm going to go back over to my Thinkific site and I'm going to add a custom URL. If you listen to nothing else in this video, please pay attention here. Do not make that primary right now. We do not want that being your primary URL until it's propagated, until it's actually pointing at your Thinkific site. So what we're going to do is just put that in here for now. Make sure there's no spaces before, no periods after. So whatever it is, we're going to put in here. We're going to make sure that this is not checked. And then we're going to click on save. Okay, so now I've just added a custom domain. Now it's not my primary URL for my Thinkific site yet, but it will be. So what I'm going to do in an hour or two is I'm going to take this URL here, which is the CNAME I just set up. And I'm going to go over to a new incognito window, and I am going to pop that in here in my browser. And I'm going to hit enter. And it says here, this site doesn't support a secure connection. So we know it's not working yet. However, in an hour or two, or maybe even 24 hours, it will work when you do that. So when you go over to an incognito window, you put that in the browser bar and you hit enter. If what you see then is your Thinkific site, then you're going to come back into your Thinkific site. You're going to edit this domain because you know it's working now and pointing to your Thinkific site, and you're going to click on make primary and you're going to save that. That is now going to be your primary domain. So even if you've been pointing people to your Thinkific URL prior to this, no problem. That link will not break. Okay. So you can still, any links that are linking to your .thinkific.com site, no problem. Those will stay unbroken. It will just point to this as the new primary URL. Okay. Again, this is an area that you need to be careful of if you already have a live site. Please don't do anything that could potentially break those links or shut your site down, even temporarily. Okay. On to the next section here. So course landing page. I'm going to tell you my preference. You do you. Okay. So there's two options here. One is product page with support for custom CSS and apps, which looks really scary. And the other one is landing page with a simplified builder and AI content. They are both landing pages. They both build landing pages. Okay. A landing page is just a web page with a call to action, a home page, about page, course sales page, bundle sales page, group sales page, whatever it is, those are all landing pages. Now, the way Thinkific categorizes them in here is a product page and a landing page. They're all landing pages, okay? The only difference is that these landing pages, they're what they call landing pages with the simplified builder and AI content. That means AI is going to build out your sales page. and there is very little customization that you can actually do in that. It is not what I suggest you use. Now, if you're right out the gates and you're like, I don't have any clue what I'm doing with sales pages, you could use this. But if you ever switch to this option where you have way more control, you can design much better pages from a design standpoint, a UX standpoint, all of it. If you switch to that in the future, you actually have to recreate your course in Thinkific, meaning you have to set up a new course once you have switched this to product page as the default. So if I were you and you're just starting out, I would set it up using product page, not using the AI landing page builder. Again, totally up to you. Just pros and cons of each. You have a ton more ability to customize it with product page. If you go with landing page, you are very limited and it is created with AI. And yes, you can make some adjustments, but in my opinion, it is never going to be a high converting sales page. SSL certificate, this automatic, it's called a secure socket layer, automatically comes with Thinkific. You don't need to do anything with this. If you have the option, so keep in mind that some of these options you will not have if you're on a lower plan, and you will have some additional features if you're on a higher plan. So just keep that in mind if you're seeing some inconsistencies between your site and mine. Remove Thinkific branding. Ideally, yes, if you're on the right plan, you want to remove that because you don't want it to say powered by Thinkific on the bottom of it. You want it to look like it is your site, not powered by Thinkific. So if you have the option, remove that branding, click on save. Down to performance checkout. Now, I'm not sure in my active site whether I actually have this or not. This is a very old site. I've had this since 2014, this sandbox site. So this may or may not even be an option on yours. But if you have the option to use the performance checkout, absolutely toggle that on. Okay, down to modifying text. So within these settings here, you're going to be able to modify text that appears maybe within lessons or within pages or in back end of your Thinkific site. So the two that I always, or at least one that I always customize here is start learning. If you don't have a thank you page that you set up for your course or your bundle that someone would go to once they enroll, then they go to a default Thinkific thank you page, a confirmation page of their purchase. And it basically just says, hi, Kim G, click here to download your receipt, and then it'll say start learning. My beef with that is that not everyone wants to come in here to start learning. Maybe they just want to get started. Maybe they want, I don't think it's the best way to bring someone in. People have an adversity, many people, to learning. So I don't like to use that language. You change that to whatever you want. I'm going to change it here, and it's going to say get started. And that's what it's going to say instead of start learning. So that's the one I would change here. As far as product pages, these are worth going through. So for instance, if you have a course that's set to private, meaning no one can actually enroll in it, this would be the clip that shows at the top of the page. And so if you wanted to change that, you could. Just be careful because you don't want to change this variable, right? You want it to pick up your support email address. That's what a variable is, where it picks up information. But you could still do something like, so I'm going to just copy this, and I'm going to put something like, this course is not open for enrollment. Want access? Question mark. Let me just get rid of my LastPass. Okay, so now it says this course is not open for enrollment. Want to access? Email us at, and I've left that variable in there as you can see. So I'm just going to save that. Now, again, you don't have to change these. It's just a little bit more control over your site and what you want it to say and how it looks to visitors and students. I'm going to get rid of that one now, but these are worth going through, reading where that button or where that text will appear, and then changing it if you want to change it. Perfect. So we are now done site and we are moving over to learning content. Now, here's what I need you to keep in mind. In a course, so let me just do a duplicate of this tab, and I'm going to go to products and courses, and I'm just going to go into that course. And I'm going to click on preview current lesson. Okay, so this is right now what it looks like inside one of my courses to a student, right? Keep in mind, this is a test site. This is not actually what it looks like. But on this test site, this is what it looks like. It would look like to a student if they enrolled in this particular course. It's pretty bland, right? So what we're doing here under settings and learning content is we're setting the branding for that, what we call a course player. So what you're looking at here is what we call the course player. So I want to do some branding on it. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to upload my logo. So I've just made a pretend one for this Dog Training Institute. So I'm just going to go to logo here. I'm going to grab my Dog Training Institute logo and click on upload. There we go. We can see it right here. Now, because I've got color in my logo, it also has a transparent background, but because I have color in it, I don't want to have a color behind it, or it's going to look, it's either going to fade out or it's going to look ridiculous with a block of color behind it. So if I have a colored logo, I am leaving this white. If I have a white logo on a transparent background, I'm going to change that to a color. And then we have very few options for fonts within the course player as far as the actual branding of it without doing any serious customization, which we can do, but I'm not even going to get into that for you. That would be like a custom job that you'd probably outsource. But in this case, I'm just going to choose one that looks close enough to my font, let's say, which is this. Then I'm going to click on save. It is a good idea to save as you go, just to make sure that you don't lose any of your work. Okay, so we've got those things. Now, I would not fill in the social sharing. You can change this, the branding for each course within each course. So we're just getting the default in here. Social sharing would be a per course. So this is when someone finishes a course, they can click a button and share out to their social their results, which helps you get, hopefully, more leads and more students and customers. But this is on a course by course basis. So I would not fill this in here. We're going to continue on. Language settings. So what's your primary site language? And then do you want students to override the site language? And as you can see here, basically it doesn't do anything with your course. All it does is allow them to overwrite the language on the sales pages or the landing pages. Okay, so if you want that, click on save. And then again, we've got more text to customize. So in Thinkific, a chapter is like a module. It's a section of your course, and within each chapter, there are lessons. So do we want to call this modules? Maybe we want to call it sections. So if we go into a new course, this is called a chapter. Now, your student doesn't need to know that that's called a chapter. There's different places through your Thinkific site that it will refer to it as a chapter or a lesson. So if it'll refer to lessons as lessons and chapters as chapters. So if you don't call the different sections of your course chapters, you call them modules, then change this here so it says modules, not chapters. Okay, there is a section in your course player here that says, this one says go to home, and that's because I've customized that here. Okay. So you can play around with these, customize, complete, and continue. That is what you're going to see down here. So you can customize all of these. And I would say you probably need to look through, make sure you know, like you're reading what this is for before you start customizing a ton. Best idea is to just leave this initially. Once you're done the site, before you open it to students, you go through the whole site and you see what needs changing. Don't touch them if you don't know what it is. You will find it out in your travels. Okay, on to payments. So this is where you would connect your payment processor. So Thinkific has T-commerce or T-payments, which is basically Stripe under the hood. But it allows, if you hook up T-commerce, so you're using Thinkific as your payment gateway, then they are also a merchant of record. A merchant of record means that they will collect payment for your thing, your products, and they will also charge tax for it appropriately, and they will also submit the tax on your behalf. So that is a big benefit of Thinkific's payment hooking it up with T-commerce or T-payments. Now, you can still use your own payment processor if you prefer it, like Stripe, if you want to connect it directly to your Stripe account. However, there are additional fees for doing that. So just make sure that you know what you're getting into when you choose your payment processor. For ease, I would say T-payments or T-commerce, same thing, would be the best initial choice for you. If for some reason you need to connect to your own Stripe account, you want to bypass the taxes being collected, anything like that, then you're going to want to use your own Stripe account. Just keep in mind that there are additional fees for this. I do not work for Thinkific. I am an independent contractor. I have been in business 25 years. So I'm just telling you the truth and what I know after working with the platform since 2015 and being one of their top experts. Okay? So this is where you would connect it. It's super easy. Where am I located? Canada. I'm going to set up my Thinkific payment. So this is where I'm just going to enter my information about my business, and then I'm going to click continue. Then I'm just going to review everything to make it sure it's accurate, and then click agree and submit. Okay, so now it's taking me back to the payment tab here. It's going to ask me to add a bank account so that they can pay me out when customers buy my products from my site. It's going to ask me for my main price currency, which I can change here. And I can toggle on that I want to offer local currency at checkout. So at the checkout, then it converts price, like your main price, to their price if they're in a different currency. So that's what that is for. Then we've got additional payment methods. If you just click the arrow at the side, you're going to see there's different ways that are enabled or disabled. And this is where you can enable or disable these. So this one, for instance, cards, popular for consumer and businesses to pay online or in person. Stripe supports global and local card networks. So those would be credit cards. You would not want to turn that off. However, maybe you want to turn off the wallets for some reason. You don't want these enabled on your site. You can just click the arrow and turn off Apple Pay or whatever it is. Now, I need to be able to finish onboarding to Thinkific. Like I need to finish all the information on here, and then I can go back and disable the payment type options that I don't want offered at my checkout. So I'm just going to come up here and collapse additional payment methods for now. Then we've got billing info collection. So it's asking me, do you want to collect billing info at checkout with address fields? I'm going to turn that on. Hide financials. So do I want to hide financial data from other site admins and partners that I've set up for my site? I'm going to turn that on just for your own security. It's a good idea to turn that on. And this is in beta right now, which is really exciting because we have asked for this for a very long time. Unfortunately, up until now with Thinkific, you had to put one item in the cart at a time and check out and pay for it. But now we are going to be able to add multiple items to our cart and then go to the checkout and pay for them and enroll in them all at once. This is fantastic news. Now it's still in beta. I'm not telling you to use it or not use it. I'm just saying it's now an option. So I'm going to enable cart, and it's saying, hey, where do you want to put this on your site? I'm going to put bottom top right, I think, because that's where most people are used to seeing the cart is the top right. And again, it says this feature may not work as expected if you've customized your site theme or landing page template. And that is it for payments. Let's move over to orders and accounts. So if you're just starting your site, don't make any changes here. If you already have a live site with live students, don't touch this part. But if you don't and you're setting this up from scratch, I would not suggest enabling social logins. So you go to a site and it says log in with your Google or sign up with your Facebook. It sounds like a good idea until you realize that at least two of the items on this list, if I turn this on and someone signed up for one of my courses using the Apple sign-in, Thinkific pulls their name as Apple, which means when I send the email to them to say, welcome to the course, it'll say, hi, Apple. Well, I don't want that. So I just never, ever set this up. Someone can log in with an email and a password. I don't think it's that big of a deal. You do you. I'm just telling you what I would do, and that is to not enable these. Down here, create new account. Do we want someone to create a new account if they don't sign up for something? Well, the answer is no. Why would I want them to sign up for a new account? I mean, unless your strategy is take them into a dashboard and sell them on something in there, sure, maybe you'd want to. But in general, I do not want to have someone create an account unless they're signing up for something. Confirm unrecognized emails during checkout. This is a very good idea. This has been a big problem in the past, and this has just rolled out. So we're excited to see this. We want them to, if it doesn't recognize the email, it's going to ask them to re-enter it so that we can make sure that they haven't made a mistake in their email, which has caused major, major problems in the past. Custom single sign-on. So custom single sign-on. I am not going to go into a detailed how to do this in this tutorial. It's much more in depth, much more than most of you will need. If you're interested in single sign-on, you'll probably need to go work with one of the Thinkific experts or do it on your own. This is not something I'm going to go into. We're going to continue on. Now, something that I see almost every site owner miss is privacy policy and terms of use. These I have in my community. All the resources that I talk about throughout these episodes will all be in my community. The link is below if you're interested in joining. I do have a privacy policy template and a terms of use template. I cannot give you legal advice, but I can provide you a template, and those are in there. Why do you want those? You want those to cover your ass. That's why. And to cover the ass of your students too. You want to make sure that you are locked down as far as your refund policy, how you use their data. And in fact, you must have a privacy policy on a site that collects information from them. So that's not even really optional. You need to have a privacy policy and you need to have a terms of use. And so that's where these would go in right here. So we would click this and we would put our privacy policy in here. And same thing here with the terms of use. Okay. And there is one more box under here now. I just noticed I've never seen this before, so this must be something new from Thinkific. Always show the privacy policy and or terms at checkbox at checkout, even to returning customers. I would not have that on for returning customers. It doesn't make any sense. Unless you've changed your privacy policy and terms of use. But if you haven't, I wouldn't ask returning customers to have to agree to the privacy policy and terms of use. They've already agreed to it once. Up to you. I wouldn't do it. Okay, I'm going to scroll up and click on save. Now, what I should probably do first is put in my privacy policy and terms of use, but I'm not going to for this demo. You know where to find it now and how to do it. I'm going to uncheck those and I'm going to save it for the demo. Okay, here's your email marketing consent. So if you want to be able to send emails like marketing emails, promo emails to the people who buy a course from you, then you need to collect email marketing consent at the checkout. Just is what it is. Click on save. Custom sign-up fields. There is a lot of confusion about this. When someone signs up for your Thinkific site, they are going to be asked for their first name, last name, and email. And they are also going to be asked for their postal code. And because we checked off that we wanted their full address to be collected, they're also going to have to put in their full address. Those are standard fields. If you want anything over and above that, you have a maximum additional 4 fields to work with. So maybe you want to collect their phone number, which is a common one that I hear from clients. And I always discourage them, unless you're using it for something like, unless they know that they're going to be texted, that's just a barrier to entry. So I would not suggest adding these unless you absolutely need them. And keep in mind that the custom sign-up fields are not a per checkout. So I can't say if they're enrolling in this course, then I want to ask for this information. But if they're enrolling in this course, I want to ask for different information. That's not what this is for. This is custom sign-up fields on every checkout for every course or bundle or product on your site. So just keep that in mind. The less questions you ask, the better, as far as barrier to entry goes. And this is site-wide. So this is product-wide, not specific to a product. That's your custom sign-up fields. Now, if we wanted to add something for some reason, let's say we want their city. I'd put in, well, no, we've already asked for their address. So let's say maybe it's a license number. Maybe you have physiotherapy courses. And in order to take those courses, you need their license number. Maybe that license number needs to be on a certificate or something like that. That's a great use case for this. So custom sign-up fields is going to be license number, and the only field type options are text and country. So obviously this is going to be text, And I'm going to check this to say that it is required field, and I'm going to click on save. Okay, group order settings. So do I want to enable group order quantity selection at checkout? What that means is if someone goes to my checkout and goes to buy one course, do I want to give them the opportunity to buy 10 courses? Maybe they are a small team that want to use my courses. So in that case, I would probably want to enable this. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to enable someone to buy multiple courses for their team or their staff or their family or whoever your buyer persona is. So I would, if I were you, leave that on probably. Gifting settings, this is again, do you want them to be able to buy one of your courses as a gift for someone else at checkout? If so, you want to enable this. It's just going to increase your average order value and options on your site. Here is your order setup here. So this is the order ID, so the first number of the first receipt is going to be issued. That's what this is here. I would check with your accountant first when you set that up. And then if you want to change that, click on save. And again, we've got more options. Maybe you don't want to use the word coupon. Maybe you want to use the word discount. You could customize this and ask for the discount code instead of the coupon code. All right. Then we go under tax at the top. So these are tax categories. Every single time that you add a product to your Thinkific site, a digital product, a course, a membership, whatever it is, every single time you add it, you need to come in here and make sure that you've set your tax category appropriately. So as in this test sandbox site, I only have one course. It's not even published. But I want to make sure that I have that in the right category so the right taxes are collected on it. This is how I would do it. As I would come in here and I would look for my learning product that I have, which I think is called New Course. Yes. Okay. So here's the course name, New Course. And then I need to choose what this is. Is it an online course or bundle? Is it an online course or bundle with a live lesson? Is it in-person training? Is it just community access? Is it a digital book like an ebook? So this is where I have to choose what this product is. And I need to choose that so the correct taxes are collected at the checkout. Okay? So every time you add a new course, you need to make sure that you come in here and set this for that new product. Sales tax in the US and Canada. Thinkific handles taxes, again, in the US or Canada. You have to do your tax registration here, your federal tax registration number, if you have one associated with your business. And then VAT in the UK and EU, it asks you if you wanted to enable VAT on sales. It says, if enabled, all buyers in these regions will see VAT and billing info fields at checkout. Now, you're welcome to leave any comments for me in the YouTube video below. However, if they are questions about tax, anything about taxes, currency, payments, please ask Thinkific. Okay? I am not the gal to ask about this. Anything to do with that stuff, that is a Thinkific question. You will need to reach out to them directly. All right, last tab we're going to work on is code and analytics. So this is where you would put in any custom code that you might use across your site. If you're brand new, if this is not your realm, skip by this. There's nothing that you need to add into this. Okay, but if you are adding any code in here, just make sure that you also run this code on the Learner Hub and the new course player if that's what you want to do. Generally, you would put that in there if you're working with some kind of developer. They're going to add that in. Again, if you don't even know what site footer code is or analytics code, pixels, things like that, just forget this and just skip by. So this is really a little bit more advanced stuff. So this is order tracking code. If you're tracking for ads or you're tracking for specific analytics, that's what this is about. Same with down here, sign up tracking code. Here's your Google site verification meta tag. If you're interested, you can click on the help article, something I'm not going to dive too deep into on this tutorial. And then you've got webhooks and API access tokens. So again, this is more advanced stuff. You don't need to do this if you're first setting up your Thinkific site. You just need to get it up and running. There is one more part that I'm going to cover that is not in settings that I still consider the back end setup. and that would be team. So if you have team members that you're going to be adding, you need to set the rules and you need to set the team members as well. So these are the default rules. So for instance, for site admin, they get full access, accept ownership transfer of your site and payment integrations. And so these are the permissions that they would have access to. Now, if you want custom roles, so those roles aren't meeting your needs, you can upgrade to Plus and have custom roles here. But for most people, you could probably choose one of these that would fit the bill for you. Okay, so if I go to course admin, it says this is a default role and cannot be edited, but it does tell you what the permissions are. So if I give someone course admin access to my Thinkific site, they're going to be able to view courses, preview courses, and view course lessons. They're going to be able to manage my courses and do these things. They're going to be able to view reports. And for media and content, they're going to be able to view media, create media, edit media, and delete media. Okay, so this just kind of, if you click on it, it tells you exactly what that role can do. And again, these are the default roles. So this would be the time to set up your roles and add any team members that you want to this. Even though your site's not set up, I do consider this part of the back-end setup of your site. So that, my friend, is the end of episode 2, where we did all of the Thinkific back-end settings. Now, if this feels totally overwhelming to you and you are not interested in doing this yourself and you'd like to outsource it, click on the link below, go to our website. We do that as well. We set up full Thinkific sites. We have Thinkific templates, the whole deal. So in the next episode, episode 3, you are going to be learning how to create the course, not the curriculum of the course and not the sales page of the course, but the actual course settings. So this would be certificates, reviews, after purchase page, pricing, and all the course settings. Again, another part that I see that is almost never set up properly. If you have any questions or comments about today's episode, please feel free to leave them below. Make sure that you're subscribed so that you can get notified as we release new episodes. And if you know anyone else using Thinkific, please forward this video to them. Thank you for joining me for episode 2. I look forward to seeing you on episode 3.